Hey, hello, welcome to day two, part one. We're going to break today's down into two parts. We'll do a little video, ask a question, send you to the discussion boards, and then we'll come back and do the second one and be good to go for there on day two. Most of you, a lot of you have already posted from day one telling me a little bit about yourself. It's good to see and read about you guys. I know some of you already, others I'm getting to know, so looking forward to that. So I've got a few things that I want to go over here today with you if I can. And I lost my little clicker. I'm trying to find my little clicker, but I don't have that. I did want to show you the book, and I'll do that. I'll post a picture of the book that I'm using on Blackboard, so you see it. Not a huge deal. Again, I think some of you said that you can't get the book now and might not even get it till after the semester. Don't do that. If it's too late to get it after the semester, don't worry about it. So I want to talk to you today just a little bit about management skills and where you might be and how you can define yourself and where you can see yourself. And I'm going to weave it in with some stories about my career. This will be the only day I do something like that, talking about myself as much as this. But I think it'll show you a little bit about where you need to be looking and what you need to be thinking about for yourself. So let's take a look at right here again. You'll see here's my title. This is something that I go around and present sometimes for Texas Tech athletics. The font is not right on that. We're supposed to use a different font, but for some reason it's not working out on my laptop here. So we'll bear with the font. But I'm the Senior Associate Athletics Director for External Operations here at Texas Tech Athletics. So I have communications, I have marketing, I have broadcast services, I have our digital that report to me. So when you think about this. I'm one of 65 people in the country that have that job. There are 65 basically called Power 5 schools. I'm one of those 65. There you see me getting to interview Cliff Kingsbury. And so people think it's pretty cool, right? I get that a lot, that, hey, that's a pretty cool job. That's me before my beard. You guys are seeing me with beard. That's in the days previous to the beard. And so I get that a lot, that, hey, you must have a cool job. So I show these older people because I went and spoke a couple weeks ago to a group of retired people, and I actually sat at a table with a guy who was a pretty successful businessman. Now, he was retired now, but he was a very successful businessman when he was at the height of his career. And I just told him, I said, man, you've had a fascinating career. And he said, oh, I hated it, miserable. And he was in the construction business, said he wasn't happy, didn't make him happy, and if he had to do it over again, he would have chosen something else to do. And I was thinking about that. I thought, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? That you're very successful, and yet when you're looking back on your career, your life, you're not happy with it. That's a bed bug. I also spoke to the Lubbock Apartment Association, and the speaker before me was a bed bug expert. And he talked about bed bugs, and he knew everything about bed bugs. And I'll just tell you this now. He let us know that there's an international bed bug making its way to the United States. So you have to live with that today if you start feeling kind of itchy or something. You've got to remember that, what he said about the bed bug. So I talked to the guy afterwards, and I said, I was talking to the guy, and I said, that's interesting, bed bugs. And he said, I love my job. Love it. Wouldn't do anything else. So I started thinking about the two guys. The guy that on the surface looked like he was very successful, and then you think, who wants to be a bedbug guy? But the bedbug guy actually having more job satisfaction than the other guy. And I found that to be I just found that to be an interesting look at. I don't know why I'm getting that there. Interesting look at the two careers. What the heck's going on? See, this is why I shouldn't be involved in anything at all with. There you go. So it led me to think about success and what is defined as success. And if you're going to be successful as a manager or whatever you do, you got to be passionate about it. And so your brain has got to be connected with your heart in some point, right? It's got to be something that you feel good about. Guess what? Success is not determined by what others think. It's determined by yourself and what you think about your career. So it leads me to the hashtag dream job. We always make that joke around here. Hashtag dream job. Because I'll get some complaints or I'll get something, and So that's kind of the joke we do is hashtag dream job. So it led me to think, okay, so where are you on what you think is a dream job? And that's what I asked you guys in your first statement to tell me about what you want to do and what you think you want to do with your career. And part of what we were thinking about was look back to 2005. This was when Pope Benedict the 16th was made the new pope of the Catholic Church. And you see the people lined up to watch him. You see one person here in the corner has got a little flip phone. I think there's another person somewhere in here that has a phone. I did it again. Did the wrong one again. Now look at 2013. Same location for Pope Francis. Everybody has got some kind of device. Everybody has got something. Everybody is shooting something. And here's my point. In 2005, people coming out of college, could they have predicted this in 2013, just a mere 8 years later? The answer is probably maybe. They knew that, hey, phones were getting more prevalent. I'm not sure that people could foresee that 8 years down the line it was going to look like that. So that's why it's hard right now for you in your position to say, hey, what's your dream job? What do you want to do? What's your dream job? It's hard to have that hashtag dream job. Now, maybe your dream job is you're going to take over your parents' business and you know what it is. And you still have to be aware of what's going on, what's changing, and what's not changing. You have to know those things. But maybe it's in a business that technology is not changing too much. In electronic media, the change is pretty prevalent. Again, I take all kinds of angry phone calls. I had a guy the other day online compare me to Papa Smurf. I don't think he meant it as a compliment. Dream job, right? Those are the kind of things you have to deal with. And those are the things we'll talk later in the semester about having a thick skin and not letting people get to you in a way. But those are the things that what some people might not think is a dream job or some people think is a dream job. You only yourself can determine that. Only you can determine how you would achieve your success. We all see ourselves having a career like this, right? You go to college, you get good grades, maybe you get out of college, your career skyrockets. But it ends up being something more like this, right? That you're going to have some ups, you're going to have some downs, and you're going to have some downtimes. How you respond to those, that's what makes you who you are. And so you have to always determine what's next. What's your next step? There's no harm in saying this isn't what I want to do. I'd rather do something else. This is what's great about internships. You can learn what you want to do for a career. Some people might get an internship in sales and realize, you know what, I don't want to sell. Some people might get an internship in sales and realize, hey, I'm pretty good at this and I can make good money. It's up to you to determine those things. So I worked for years and years for this company, CEV Multimedia. They're still very, very successful. I was the president of the company, left in 2000 to start my own business. Wanted to start my own business. Think about this at the time. CEV was doing they're very heavily invested in online now, but at the time they weren't. And I wanted to do my own business that was online. And so my first business was in this. Look, it's an above ground wastewater pump. And we talked to the people, and you can see their logo right there on the I don't know what that is. It's been so long ago, I don't remember what that's called. I used to be able to tell you what this was called. But they hired us to produce a series of videos that teaching how to install these, how to manufacture them, how to service them, and those things, because they had international distribution. And so they wanted to really play that up. And so started my business, got a bank loan, got a big bank loan, more than I should get. Had two partners, and we were going to really kill the world starting with this above ground wastewater management. Now, I'm not really into above ground wastewater, doesn't really ring my boat. It's not really something I'm passionate about, but I was passionate about owning my own business and running my own shop. So it's a dream job, right? Owning your own business, you got a great contract, you're really going to be successful. Then this happened. This was 9/11, 2001, and Smith & Lovelace, not unlike a lot of businesses at the time that did a lot of international trade, they shut down all their international trade until people realized what was going to happen. They wanted to watch and see what happened with the world. And so part of that, so they're losing a little bit of revenue because they're no longer doing some things internationally, and they have to tighten their have to tighten their belts a little bit. One of the things they decided they didn't need was training, video or online training. So we lost our business. We lost basically that contract. We still had the business, and left with a lot of banknotes, a lot of equipment, and not really much business. So I found myself really in a bad spot. About $400,000 in debt, not a lot of money coming in. One of my partners left and went to be a teacher, and so it was left me with one other partner. You see, those things weren't going out anywhere, and so I'm in kind of a mess. I'm deep in debt, got a young baby at home, floating in debt, no real way it looks like to pay it off. You ever seen the movie City Slickers? Sometimes there's that one thing that can change your direction. And that thing happened to me is we decided on a Friday, this was in October of 2002, we decided on a Friday, hey, Monday, let's go ahead and declare bankruptcy. Let's go talk to somebody and declare bankruptcy. We've done all we can do to make this thing work. It's not going to work. Let's get it fixed. So we went off and decided that's what we're going to do. So I go home and talk to my wife, and I'm pretty depressed. And she goes, "Hey, why don't you go to College Station this weekend?" Tech was playing Texas A&M in a football game that weekend. So I called one of my good friends. We got in the car and we drove to College Station. And Texas Tech had a quarterback at the time named Cliff Kingsbury. Had a wide receiver at the time named Wes Welker. You see Wes right there. And they beat A&M in that game 48-47 in overtime. That play there is pretty iconic. Wes returned a touchdown, a punt return for a touchdown. You see the Tech fan right in the middle. Pretty exciting. You see a few of them, Tech fans interspersed amongst all these Aggie fans. And the crazy thing about that game was that nobody saw it. It wasn't on television. Hard to imagine now when all the games are on television, but that game was not on television. 48-47, A&M missed an extra point in overtime. So we talked about it, and I was doing a little business with Texas Tech at the time, a little bit. And so I said to a guy there at Texas Tech, hey, let's sell this game. So we decided at the end we're going to take the plays, we're going to cut out all the time in between it, we're going to take the radio broadcast and put it behind it, and we're going to sell it for $29.95 plus $5 in shipping and handling. And so on Monday, I don't go see the lawyer to declare bankruptcy, and we end up selling about 5,000 copies of that. We had duplicators basically like this, 20 duplicators, and I would sleep in front of them every night, set my alarm for 1 hour and 35 minutes because that's how long the tapes were, and changed them out, and we filled all those orders. A little bit later, Tech beat Texas here in Lubbock in a game similar. We did it again. We sold about 3,000 of those. Later, they beat Clemson in the Tangerine Bowl. We sold another 3,000 of those. And I had a business. We started calling it the Video Season Ticket. It was an offspring of my production business. And all of a sudden, we were off to the races. Then on top of that, look at this, McDonald's. Now that's prevalent now, right? Everybody can look at a computer or get Wi-Fi at McDonald's. At that time, they couldn't. And interestingly enough, I had a website, and one of our subscribers worked for a company called Wayport. They were putting Wi-Fi in all the McDonald's across the country. They wanted to standardize how people were doing it, and they wanted to put the training online. He knew about me through Texas Tech. He asked me if I could do it. Said they needed to do it quickly. I said, well, I'll have to charge you extra. He goes, it's McDonald's, charge whatever you want, and had more business and had more business. The next thing you know, I got a big contract with the state of Oklahoma. Next thing you know, I got some other things going on and got out of debt, and the rest is kind of history. I got hired by Chancellor Hance back in 2011. Kent Hance was the Chancellor of Texas Tech to be the Associate Chancellor for Communications and Marketing, for Vice Chancellor for the Texas Tech University System. From there, when Chancellor Hance retired, I went to run Texas Tech Public Broadcasting. After then, the guy there on the right, Kirby Hookup, my boss, he hired me to come work in athletics. So the point on all that is this. I recently failed at what? We can all think of something, right? I can tell you something right now that I failed at recently. There's a great story. This is the fight between Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali back in the early 70s. And Ali goes down late in the fight. He's losing on all the cards. Conventional wisdom is stay down, champ. Stay down. You're not going to win the fight. But he got up and he finished the fight. And they asked him afterwards, why did you get up? You knew you were going to lose on the scoring. And he said, a champion always gets up. And so that's the mantra you have to follow in your career. You're going to fail a few times. Get up. Because these are two good words. So what? I failed a test. So what? I flunked a course. So what? I got fired. So what? Those are bad things, right? But how you respond to it, how you respond to your employees as a manager, help define you. There's a few things, simple things. We'll talk about this on the last day of the class also. Show up wherever it is, your job, helping out friends, helping out people. Show up is the key. Always be mindful. There's so many distractions now. We have cell phones, we have pads, we have everything else. Show up and keep some of those things off your mind. Try to be present in what you're doing. Always be aware, right? Always be aware of your surroundings. Look at that cat. That cat is very confident looking in the mirror. Be aware. Be aware of your be aware of who you are, be aware of your situation. Maya Angelou said, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated." It's the key to great management, is that you're going to fail sometimes. Your business is going to fail. You're going to drop the ball on occasion. You got to pick it up. If the ball is dropped, you pick it up. And then again, do what you love. Love what you do. You got to love your job. I work a lot of hours now, but I love my job. I love coming to work. When I work these hours, I don't feel like I'm at work. I feel like I've got a lifestyle. It's part of my lifestyle. And that's what you want to do. You only get one shot at it. And if you're going to be an effective manager and you're going to be really effective at what you do, you got to love what you do. Your employees pick up on it if you don't. And again, I'm here at Texas Tech. It's a great place. I have 2 degrees from here. Again, I told this earlier. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a PhD, but I do have a master's. And then you can find your hashtag dream job. And it may be different now than it will be 15 years from now. But know where you are, know what you're doing, and kind of have a plan for yourself. And it's okay to stumble. It's okay to fall. It's okay to pick yourself back up. It's not the failure. It's how you react to the failure that really determines who you are. So that's it for part 1. I just want to talk a little bit about that. I think at this point, what I want you to do is go to the message board at this point, or the discussion board, and talk about what have you recently failed at. You don't have to give an example, but how did you come back from something that you really, I mean, you don't have to put something embarrassing, but just talk about coming back from something, a setback, something that, whether it be changing majors, whether it be losing a roommate, whatever it would be, that you said, hey, and I was able to come back from that. And you realize as you do that, that failure is not always the end of the world. Do that, and we'll come back, and we'll have the second part here a little bit later today.